Yo, let's get realistic about these Man United transfers, yeah, or possible transfers. Because it's clear to see that we started the window full of optimism, We had tier one journals talking about we're going to be the busiest club, in the whole Premier League this season. Like, we was full of optimism. We was talking about rebuilds. I think I done about 2-3 vids about how the rebuild might look going forward. Do you know what I mean? But right now, the realism is there's two positions that we might strengthen further. We might sign players in these two positions, and that's at left back or centre midfield. So those two positions might get strengthened. Yeah. When it comes to the left wing, striker, those attacking positions, forget about it. We're only going to strengthen in those positions if we get rid of Xerxes and if we get rid of, more importantly, Marcus Rashford. So let's put that on the back burner. Let's focus on the two positions which currently we may strengthen, yeah? Start with the left back position. So I've got a list of 5 players that have been recently, like within the last 28 days, the last month, been linked with United, yeah? I got a list of 5 players. And let's have a look at it. Let me give you the list of 5 players that have been mentioned about Man United. Right. Hull, obviously, that's the most trending topic right now when it comes to Man United transfers, is Lewis Hall. Now, with Lewis Hall is the price. We've seen United they're preferring a cheaper option right now. Not to say they won't go and spend 60 million, 70 million on a player, but I feel like if United feel like they've got options, cheaper options, I feel like they'll go for it. They will go for a cheaper option if it's viable. So yeah, we've got Lewis Hall, we've got Marzio Skelly, MLS. Again, that's the 60 million plus category. Lewis Hall, Marzio Skelly, 60 million plus category. But the thing that Lewis Skelly's got over Hall is they can actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So if United really and truly only want to spend 30 to 40 million in both positions, so like if they only want to spend 60 to 80 million on both a left back and a centre midfielder, that's probably why they're looking at Marzio Skelly, because he can fulfill those 2 roles. Another one, a little bit, I don't see him mentioned as much, but he was looked at by the club. He was being mentioned a few weeks ago, but I haven't seen it recently, is Nico Williams. Now, I would say Nico Williams, you're looking at 50 million plus. He's not quite going to be the money what you spend on Hall or Marzio Skelly, but he's just below that. So I say about 50 million plus you're looking at for Nico Williams. What I like about Nico Williams, now he'll be one of my top picks, if not 1, 2 for me. And why I think the club like him is he can play both sides. So he can play as a right back and a left back. I think that's why the club like Williams. Recently we've been seeing DJED Spence links. I feel like Spence's team are kind of engineering a move, because off of the back of the World Cup especially, they know his stock is at an all-time high right now. So I think both Spence and the club are kind of trying to engineer a move, because I think Spence wants first-team football. And with Pedro Porro, he's not going to get in that right back. And I feel like De Zerbi is looking for an out-and-out left back, a left-footed left back. So I don't think he's going to automatically cement that left back spot either. So I feel like this team are kind of looking at the options. And, he's been offered to Liverpool. They're not really interested. But United, there's links with United. Again, like Williams, he could play both sides. And I think that's why United have an interest there. And unlike Williams, he's not going to be 50 million plus. You're looking at, for Spence, you're looking at, I don't know, What do you think they're going to price Spence? I feel like 30 to 40 million. We have to check how long has he got left on his current deal. Let's have a look, see how long he's got left on his current deal at Spurs. Because we know about the recent inflation right now. So Spence, I would suspect that he'd be... Listen, if he's in the same price bracket as Nico Williams, I'll just delete him off the list now. Seriously, I'll delete him off the list now. Because they both do the same thing. They both play both sides. They both do the same thing. So 25 years old. DJED Spence price. €40 million. So yeah, apparently 40 million euros is what Spurs are trying to get. That's the price they've set. And they're saying, they've mentioned the Liverpool links. You can see the Liverpool links. So yeah, 35 million roundabouts. Yeah, that's about what I thought. So yeah, for that price again, like I said, less than Williams. So yeah, Spencer's on the list. And last but not least, Robinson from Fulham. And Robinson is obviously in that kind of Spence bracket, that kind of 30 million, 25, a bit less than Spence, 25 to 30 million. So like I said, man, I think United, the way United are going, I feel like they'll only go for their top target, which is obviously Lewis Hall, and spend the big money on their top target, Lewis Hall, if they... Put it this way, I feel like the budgets are interconnected when it comes to the left back and the mid. I don't feel like it's separate budgets. I think they affect each other. So, say we go for a cheaper options like a Sander Berge or Tyler Adams, who are going to be, 30 to 40 million, 45 million max. If we go for that type of option in midfield, then we might go for our top target, Lewis Hall. Maybe even a Marjorie Skelly if we don't get him. But I feel like if Rodri goes to Real Madrid and then Tchouaméni is available, 70 million and whatnot, then we're going to be looking at now we're going to be looking at not even Williams, we'll be looking at Spence and Robinson. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's how the club are. I feel like the budgets for both the left back and the centre midfield is interconnected. Same way I feel like the budget between the striker, like I think the striker and the left wing, I feel like it's not going to be both. I feel like we're going to get one player if we get anyone in the attacking area. I feel like it will be one player, and it will be a player that can play basically... I feel like it will be a player that can play across the lines, ideally. I feel like it'd be a player that can play left midfield, or a striker, or it'll be an out-and-out left winger, and then they know that Cunha can play across the... He can play as a striker as well. I feel like I don't feel like we'll get a left winger and a striker, even if Xerxes and Rashford go. I don't feel like we'll get both. I don't feel like we'll get both a left winger and a striker. That's really how I feel. But when it comes to selling players, we just got another example at how, I don't know, I feel like we're getting a little bit better, but there's still a gap between the way we sell players and other clubs sell players. So a perfect example of that is the Brighton and Hove Albion reserve goalkeeper that was on loan at Coventry, Rushmore, has now made that deal permanent. Rushmore, Brighton reserve goalkeeper, been at loan at Coventry. Brighton are receiving a guaranteed 22 million, rising to 30 million with add-ons. Just make a mental note of that, yeah? Now, Manchester City are getting a guaranteed 45 million for Trafford, plus a 20% sell-on. 20% of the sell-on fee goes to City. And United, and by the way, that 45 million is getting paid by Leeds, yeah? Getting paid by Leeds United, so we contributed to that by buying Darlow. I don't know, I hope Darlow proves me wrong, but I don't feel like Darlow provides competition to Lemens. I feel like he's like a backup keeper. I feel like I would rather the second keeper giving a little bit of keeping Lemens on his toes. Lemens is still young. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would have preferred like I like the keeper for Paraguay in the World Cup, Gil. I liked him, or another keeper that provides competition. That, because if something happened to Lemens, I'm not gonna have total confidence in Darlow being the number one. Like, for me, Darlow, 35 years old. If you move on Heaton, and Darlow becomes that guy. You don't have Darlow as the competition. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I digress. Listen, we now, yeah, for VTech are getting a guaranteed 7 million, which could rise to 14 million with add-ons. Yeah? We've also got clauses in his contract where I think I don't know if we got a sell-on clause, but we got a buyback clause. We got a buyback clause or first refusal or whatnot. We've got clauses in there as well, but 7 million guaranteed. Brighton had a keeper that was on loan, on loan for a year. Imagine if he wasn't on loan for a year at Coventry last season. They probably would have got like 35 for him. 22 rising to 30 million, and we get 7 million guaranteed pounds for VTech. Just another example, man, of poor selling power by Man United. And by the looks of it, we need all this. We need every penny we can, like, coming in, being generated by player sales. Bayern there as well also left the club, I think £4 million. So yeah, we've got a guaranteed £10 million plus coming in. Man, listen. Right now we're penny pinching for players. Like, the midfield list alone, the way that's disintegrated, and now literally on the list I've got in front of me, I'm looking at Tyler Adams, Burge, Kone / Tchouaméni. I say slash because I feel like they spend the money, they'll spend it on Tchouaméni, but Tchouaméni's only going to be available if Rodri goes to Madrid. Right now, he looks like he's going to Barca. So if Rodri goes to Barca, Tchouaméni's not going anywhere. Then we might revisit Kone if we want to spend on a midfielder. And like I said, if we spend on a Kone, yeah, 50 million quid, then forget Lewis Hall, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Nico Williams. We will be looking at the likes of Anton Robinson or DJED Spence at left back.